Good morning. Good morning. That was better. Welcome to church today. It is good to be here together and via the live stream. This morning we are going to continue to listen to and explore some of the most familiar stories from the Bible. Stories that help us make sense of who we are, what kind of world we are living in, and whether hope is still possible when life feels loud or uncertain. In the past weeks, we've looked at ways ordinary people, with all their flaws and shortcomings, have been used by God and for God. And this morning, we will hear once more the familiar story about Joseph, and we look forward to what Pastor Corey has to share. Let's pray together. Please bow with me. God, we have gathered here this morning to be with you and to worship you together with our church family. As we have all come from different places and with different needs, we ask that you bless each person here this morning and provide exactly what is needed. Be it words of encouragement, words of comfort, words of guidance. Let it be what is just right. We ask that you bless our time here this morning. In the name of Jesus, amen. As our group was choosing songs for this Sunday, we reflected on the recent passing of Brian Dirksen, who was the writer of several of the songs that we will sing this morning. And we'll begin with one of Ruth's favorites. Let's stand and sing together.
Every tongue will
This next song is not a Brian Dirksen song, but it's one of my favorites. So we're going to sing this one this morning, and it's not quite as familiar as the one that we just sang, but we have sung it before. The words are fabulous. It's a great song.
Let's walk together for a while and ask where we begin to build a world where love can grow and hope can enter in, to be the hands of healing and to plant the seed of peace, singing welcome, welcome to this place. You're invited to come and know God's grace. All are welcome, the love of God to share. 'Cause all of us are welcome here. All are welcome in this place. Let's talk together all the time when we will share our feast. Where pride and power kneel to serve the lonely and the least. And joy will set the table as we join our hands to pray, singing welcome, welcome to this place. You're invited to come and know God's grace. All are welcome, the love of God to share. 'Cause all of us are welcome here. All are welcome in this place. Let's dream together of a day when earth and heaven are one. A city built of love and light, the New Jerusalem, where morning turns to dancing, every creature lifts its voice, singing welcome, welcome to this place. You're invited to come and know God's grace. All are welcome, the love of God to share. 'Cause all of us are welcome here. All are welcome in this place.
We'll enjoy the story told to us by one of our young people.
Today I'll be telling you about the story of Joseph and the coat of many colors. Jacob had 12 sons. Of all of his sons, Joseph was his favorite. Jacob wanted Joseph to know that he was his dad's favorite son, so he gave him a very special coat made of all the colors of the rainbow. Now this annoyed his brothers. Why didn't they get special coats like Joseph? To make matters worse, Joseph told his brothers about all the dreams he was having. In those dreams, Joseph saw himself ruling over his brothers. He saw his brothers bowing down to him. Hearing about Joseph's dreams made his brothers really jealous and annoyed, so much that they decided it would be better if Joseph wasn't there at all. Then one day, when their dad wasn't home, they picked Joseph up and threw him in a hole in the ground. Their plan was to just leave him there, forever, until they got another idea. One day, some travelers from Egypt were passing through, and the brothers decided to sell him and send him Joseph to Egypt. They told their father that Joseph had died. In Egypt, Joseph worked for a very wealthy man who really liked how honest and hardworking he was. The man's wife told a lie about Joseph that sent him to prison. While Joseph was in prison, with God's help, he told some men what the meanings of their crazy dreams were. A few years later, Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, also had a crazy dream. He had heard about how Joseph could interpret dreams and called him out of prison to tell him what the dream was about. Joseph said the dream was a warning for For 7 years, Egypt would grow lots and lots of food, more than they could ever eat. But then, for 7 years after that, they would experience famine, where no food would grow at all. If the Egyptians did not store up all the extra food, they would not have enough food, and many people would die. Pharaoh was so happy with Joseph's interpretation that he made him the second most powerful person in Egypt, and in charge of all the food. Once food stopped growing in Egypt, the hunger spread all the way down to where Joseph's family lived. Joseph's family was so hungry they traveled all the way to Egypt to see if they could find food. And sure enough, not only did they find food, but they also found their brother Joseph. They thought he would be mad at them, but he wasn't, because Joseph could see God's plan. He was able to save Egypt from the famine and help his family get the food they needed. Joseph learned that God can use anything, no matter how bad, to do something good.
Morning, folks. It's been a while. It's good to be here. Good to be with all of you. Would you join me for a word of prayer? God, I ask that you would take over here and that my words, these words, would be your words to each of us this morning. Amen. Do you remember the first time that you realized, like really deeply realized, that you were better than everyone else? For me, it came really early in life. I know it's not much of a surprise, but it's what happens when you're a kid and everyone just keeps telling you you're so good. Oh, you're so kind. You're so good. You get good grades. You do all the right things. You're so good, Corey. Oh, you're so special. You start to believe this as a kid. And so I'd walk into a room or a situation knowing I'm at the top of the list. Didn't matter what room it was. Until 1997. I was in grade 7. It all ended there. I had a bully. 2 bullies. And they were girls. That's the worst. Because if it was just some boys will do what boys do in those situations often. We'd fight it out. Someone would get a bloody nose, and then we would just move on. But not in this situation, because it is frowned upon to hit women when you're in grade 7, especially. You learn this, right? You can't do this. And so every day I just take it. And I was good. I didn't do anything wrong. I wasn't a lippy kid. I wasn't mouthy. I didn't show off. I didn't do anything that warranted this. But these 2 girls, every day, made my life horrible. I'd walk into Winkler Elementary School. I would walk up those stairs, and I would panic because I didn't want to see them. I spent extra time in the bathroom trying to avoid them. I was hanging out in the classroom trying to avoid them. They were 1 year older than me. And then every single morning, I would come to school late, every day. And at lunchtime, I would go home for lunch, and I would come back to school late. And then when school was over, I never stuck around. I booked it home. And eventually, I think my parents started to realize something was going on, but I think it was even clearer when the school phoned and said, hey, Corey's late for school every day. What's going on? And so, my parents got involved, and it was a big deal. I walked into that building every single morning, bracing myself, always wondering, what's it going to be today, and what do I need to do to avoid this? I hadn't done anything at all to deserve that year. I was just a kid trying to make it through the hallway without being humiliated. But somewhere in that year, I learned something that I didn't just make up in my head, I learned it in my body, that life is not fair. Life isn't fair. And then, 10 plus years later, I run into one of these girls, completely by accident. Superstore parking lot. She was getting out of a van that was falling apart, rusted out, broken down. There's a bunch of kids climbing around inside. I knew that she hadn't graduated from high school, that she had dropped out. It didn't take me long to realize that life had not been especially kind to her. And here's the part of the story that I'm not completely proud of. For about 30 seconds, it felt so good. So good. Not I'm happy for her, not compassionate. It just felt good. Like something in the universe had finally tipped the scales and balanced the books. Like somewhere, somehow, the scales had finally tipped back into my direction. You see, you hurt me, and now look. And then almost as quickly as it came, I started to just feel sick. Because what kind of person feels good watching someone else's life fall apart? But I've reflected on those 30 seconds a fair bit. Because underneath all of my Sunday morning theology, I believed that that's what fairness was supposed to look like. Like if you hurt me, eventually something bad would happen to you. If you get more than me, eventually I should get more. If you win, eventually I should win. Somewhere deep inside of me was this idea that God keeps a cosmic spreadsheet and eventually the numbers had to come out even. But here's the thing that none of us really want to admit. We all keep score. There we go. We all keep score. I do, you do, we all do. We keep score in our families. Like, who does mom call more often when she needs something? Who gets the nice china? Who gets invited? Who gets asked to help? Who gets the bigger slice of pie? Who gets blamed? Who was the favorite? And I think kids understand this instinctively. You don't have to teach a 4-year-old fairness. You give one kid 2 cookies and the other kid 3, and suddenly you have created an international incident. At least that's what happens at my house. That's not fair. And they're right. We keep score at work. Who got the promotion? Who makes more? Who got a raise? Who got the corner office? Who gets listened to? Who gets credit? We keep score in friendships. Who got invited? Who went away on the weekend together? Who didn't? Who texted first? Who didn't? We even keep score at church. Who gets the platform? Whose voice matters? Who gets noticed? Who gets asked? And now we carry a tiny device in our pocket that gives us a front row seat to everybody else's highlight reel. Somebody got married. Somebody buys the house. Somebody goes to Europe. Somebody's kid gets a scholarship. Somebody's business takes off. Somebody's on a beach where you're scraping ice off of your windshield in March. And before you can stop it, something in you whispers, why them? Why not me? And here's what makes this so exhausting. We want the universe to run on merit. Good things for good people. Bad things for bad people. People who hurt us should eventually hurt. People who work hard should eventually win. People who are faithful should eventually be rewarded. We want the books to balance. Which brings us to Joseph. So let me walk through this story. It all starts with a quote. Genesis tells us that Jacob loved Joseph more than any of his other sons. And so Jacob gives him this richly ornamented robe. But it isn't really about clothing. It's a statement. It's a ranking. It's Jacob walking into the family and saying, without ever saying it, this one is special. This one matters more, and everyone knows it. The quote isn't the beginning, it's actually a symptom. And it begins this idea favoritism in Genesis. And favoritism wasn't a new concept. We dealt with this with Jacob and his brother Esau previously. Favoritism does what favoritism always does. It creates winners and losers. And Genesis 37 says that when Joseph's brothers saw that their father loved him more than them, they hated him. Wouldn't you? They couldn't even speak a kind word to him. They weren't annoyed, they found him somewhat difficult to work with. They hated him. And then Joseph starts to have these dreams, strange dreams about his brothers bowing down to him. And then Joseph doesn't just keep it in his head, he tells them. And you can almost hear what the family is thinking, like, buddy, read the room. Don't do it. There are some things that you think, and there are some things you should probably just keep between yourself and God. I've been saying this to my boys a fair bit lately. Sometimes you just should keep it inside. We don't need to say everything, but Joseph apparently had not learned that lesson yet. And then the brothers see him coming, and they start plotting. They strip him of his coat, which is the symbol of every single thing that they resent. They throw him into a pit, and then they sit beside the pit and eat lunch. Weird move, hey? Maybe it's a boy thing. I don't know. You do the hard thing, and then you break out the picnic basket, and you pretend that nothing ever happened. I don't know. I think the story would have been different if this was a bunch of sisters, but that's just me. And eventually, they sell their brother into slavery. They take this coat, and they got to make this whole situation plausible somehow. The boys are smart. They don't just bring the coat back because they know that dad would figure it out. So the boys are smart, and they dip it in goat's blood. They bring it back to their father, and Jacob believes his favorite son is dead. The brothers go home. Life continues, except it doesn't. Not really, anyways. Because now everyone is carrying something. Joseph carries trauma, Jacob carries grief, and the brothers, they carry guilt. And then years pass. Joseph rises in stature in Egypt. He's a slave, then he's a prisoner, and suddenly he's elevated to second in command over the entire nation. And because of his interpretation of dreams, which kind of got this big promotion, he realizes that there's going to be this famine that hits. So he prepares for it, and he makes sure that Egypt is in a good, solid economic situation. And then it does. Famine hits. And guess who walks through the doors? His brothers come crawling back. The same brothers, the ones who threw him into the pit, who sold him into slavery, and then had a picnic celebrating the whole occasion. The tables have turned. And now Joseph has power. Joseph has the food. He has the leverage. He could make them grovel. He could humiliate them. He could make them feel what he felt. He could finally balance the books for a while. That's exactly what he seems to be wrestling with, actually, in the text. They all appear before him, and he starts going back and forth with his brothers. He gives them a little bit of food, and he sends them home, and he puts a silver cup in his brother Benjamin's sack. Because now Benjamin is the favorite. He's the new Joseph in the story. The younger brother, the one that everyone loves. And Joseph creates the exact scenario where his brothers could abandon Benjamin the way they had once abandoned him. He sets them up. But they don't. Seems like they've learned their lesson. One of the brothers, Judah, steps forward. One of the brothers who had sold Joseph initially, he offers to take Benjamin's place. And that's when Joseph just breaks down. He clears the room, he weeps, and finally he reveals himself. He says, I'm Joseph, your brother that you sold into slavery in Egypt. And then later, after their father dies, the brothers become terrified again. You see, it almost feels like there's this family reunion. Everything is okay, but I think the brothers were living with some guilt because, well, they brought their father back in, and Joseph is going to be nice to us as long as dad is still here. But a couple chapters later, when we hit chapter 50, where this story kind of ends, Jacob dies. And they think, okay, dad is gone. Now Joseph is finally going to get us because we want to hold it together while our parents are still here. But when our parents are gone, then we don't have anything to do with our siblings anymore. Is that what's going to happen here? But Joseph says, you intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Notice what Joseph does not say. He doesn't say, well, that wasn't that big of a deal, no problem, let's forgive and forget. He doesn't say, oh, you know what, that slavery thing, that prison thing, being dropped into a pit, wasn't that bad. It all worked out in the end. He doesn't say, God wanted you to do it. He doesn't say everything happens for a reason. And he certainly doesn't say, no worries, let's just hug it out. He names it. He names the evil and the heartache. You intended to harm me. It happened. It matters. It hurt. And then he says, but God was still at work. And that's different. Joseph doesn't try to erase the whole story. He's trying to frame a bigger one. And I want us to sit on the other side of this story for just a moment, because the brothers were so wrong. They were deeply wrong, and what they did was evil. But before they were villains, they were sons. They were brothers. Sons who grew up in a house where love was visibly unequal. Can you imagine that? Every day? Imagine your father putting the coat on your brother, knowing that you were just never going to get one. Imagine sitting at the table and knowing exactly where you stood. Not because somebody said it necessarily, but because everyone knew it. Joseph is the favorite. He's beloved. And you, well, you're one of the brothers. That's what favoritism does. It turns love into comparison and into competition. And when love becomes competition, somebody always loses. And I don't think that excuses what the brothers did. But I think it actually helps us to understand it and understand them, because hurt people don't always wake up one morning and decide, today I'm going to become cruel. Today I'm going to walk into a school and I'm going to find a grade 7 boy and I'm going to bully him until he cries. There's usually a road, a long road, a road paved with disappointment and comparison and resentment and feeling unseen and feeling passed over, feeling like somebody else keeps getting what you're supposed to get. And then eventually the story you tell yourself becomes, if life isn't going to be fair to me, why should I be fair to anyone else? It's dangerous because one unfair moment can become permission for a lifetime of retaliation. And here's something else. The brothers don't just have to live with what they did. They have to live with the secret for 20 years. Imagine sitting across from your father while he grieves a son that you know is still alive. Imagine family meals, birthdays, holidays, ordinary conversations, the picture on the fireplace mantle, and underneath all of it, realizing we did this. And that's what unresolved guilt does. It doesn't appear, it just kind of waits there. And when their father finally dies, like I said, they immediately assume that Joseph is going to come for them. Why would he not? Because that's what guilt does. It convinces you that judgment is always kind of one step behind you, and even when grace is standing right in front of you. And now, back to the parking lot. Back to those 30 seconds. Because wanting something to be fair, for me, isn't a character flaw. I felt so bad about myself, feeling that, but I just wanted things to be fair. And when something unfair happens to us, we don't just want relief to feel better. We want acknowledgement. We want someone to say, that wasn't okay. We want the record corrected. I wanted punishment. When the person who hurt us doesn't give us that, we start looking for it somewhere else. Like a rumor, a failure, a divorce, a bad decision, a little glimpse that maybe their life isn't going so well. That's exactly what I did. I think we do that online even more now than we ever have. Please let their life not be going well. And just for a moment, for 30 seconds, we feel better. We call it justice or karma. But sometimes it's just relief. It's the only closure we know how to create. What do we do with the unfair thing while you're still inside of the situation? Because most of us aren't Joseph at the end of the story. We're not standing in a palace with our brothers kneeling in front of us. We're somewhere in the middle. We're in the pit. We're in Potiphar's house. We're in prison. We're in the chapter where nothing really makes sense. No one has apologized. No one has explained themselves. No one has made it right. And there's no guarantee that they ever will. So what do? Well, there are a number of options. You can numb it. You can tell yourself you're fine. You can put your head down. Don't feel too much. Don't expect too much. Don't trust too much. That works for a while. Or you can weaponize it. You can let what happened to you become permission for what you do next. They hurt me, so now I get to hurt people. Nobody cared about me, so I don't have to care about anyone. Life isn't fair, so I'm going to take what I can get. That's the road the brothers take, and we know where it leads them. Or there's a third option, and it's much harder, and Joseph chooses it. Stay present. Keep showing up. Keep doing the next right thing. Keep becoming the kind of person that you want to be, even when life isn't giving you much evidence that it matters. Again and again in Joseph's story, we hear the same strange phrase repeated. The Lord was with Joseph. Not the Lord explained everything to Joseph. Not the Lord made it all better. Not the Lord made it all go away. Not the Lord told Joseph how it was all going to turn out. Not the Lord made everything fair in the end. Just the Lord was with Joseph. And he had to trust that he was not alone in the chapter he was in. My grandma used to count out sticks of gum. Literally. Every Christmas. She would add up everybody's gifts so the total was exactly the same. 7 grandchildren, 7 presents, 7 equal piles. And if it wasn't equal, she would add sticks of gum until that monetary total was the same. I think I even got a half stick of gum one year. Whatever it took, so it was fair. Because nobody was going to say, oh, they got more than me. You know what? I love that about her. I really do. There was something beautiful about it. She was trying to make sure that everybody knew that you mattered just as much. And somewhere along the way, I think I learned a little theology from those Christmas gatherings. I learned that love means equal. Same amount, same treatment, same outcome, if the portions all match. Then everyone knows that they're loved. But here's what I've had to unlearn. Equal and fair aren't the same thing. They're not even close. My grandma could make Christmas equal, but she couldn't make life equal. She couldn't make sure that no one got sick, that no one got hurt, that no one was not offended, that no one got overlooked, that no one got betrayed, that no one got lost. She could count the gum, but she couldn't control the story, and neither can we. Because life isn't equal. And sometimes life is not fair. Not from where we're standing, anyways. Joseph's life certainly wasn't. The coat wasn't equal, the pit, the prison, the blessing, the ending wasn't even equal. The promise of Joseph's story isn't that life becomes equal. It's that God is present in our unevenness. And somehow, somewhere beyond what Joseph could see, that God was taking what had been intended for harm and weaving it into something good. So maybe faith isn't believing the universe will balance all the books, or that eventually everything will just become fair and worked out perfectly. Maybe faith is learning to trust God, even when it isn't.
If you care to stand, let's sing the last song together, Great is Thy Faithfulness. Singing. We've come to the time where we are going to say farewell to our live stream friends. It was good to be together again today. And as we head out into the week ahead, hear these words of encouragement. Go in love, for love alone endures. Go in peace, for it is the gift of God. Go in safety, for we cannot go where God is not. We'll see you again next week.